What was loved by poor people until rich people ruined it? Story 1. Creating YouTube channels. The worst part of this is that they all use the same format: vlogs, 50 different camera cuts in a span of 2 minutes, clickbait titles, and thumbnails. Story 2. Vinyl collecting. It was a dead, cheap to get into industry as a hobby. Now come and get your $50 RSD special Jizz Splatter Chet Baker EP. I'm going to be laughing with my CD collection when they become retro cool and spike in price in 20 years. Story 3. Cheap foods. Donuts, cupcakes, hamburgers, wings that have all been given the foodie treatment and went from good, cheap eats to gourmet pricing without a corresponding increase in quality. Story 4. All types of what is traditionally poor people food: pork belly, oxtails, etc. All the things that used to be cheap because they were considered to be the trash parts. Now that people realize how delicious they can be, it's driven the price up. Story 5. Every little cool mountain town in American West. Moved in, built their $1 million mansion, and spend the next decade complaining about how the internet is spotty, the electricity goes down during blizzards, and mountain lions keep killing their shih tzus. I've seen it so many times. Story 6. Living near the coast used to be a poor people thing a long time ago. My grandfather bought a house on Cape Cod when he retired from being an airline mechanic in the late 60s. He wasn't poor, but he sure as hell wasn't rich, and a normal middle-class person wouldn't be able to do that today. Even if you inherit a house free and clear, the property taxes will eat you alive if you aren't rich. Story 7. The Champion brand. I remember Goodwill and Walmart selling their Champion stuff for cheap. Now it's designer and costs so much more now. Shaking my head. Exactly. Champion was the cheap clothing brand at Target for such a long time. Now they cost twice as much without any increase in quality or style, in my opinion. Story 8. Taking junky old cars and fixing them up as a hobby. Rich people discovered that they could buy up loads of potentially very worthwhile project cars for not much, restore them to a level of unobtainable quality and price, which drove the price up. Now everyone knows what they have, iRoll.png, and holds out for the big buyers instead of the neighbor down the street. They turned a hobby into a billion-dollar industry and entertainment conglomerate so that they can sell cars to other rich people, since few people can afford $200,000 restored Mustang or GTO or whatever it is. Story 9. Mexican food, especially simple stuff like tacos and burritos. It used to be the cheap option, especially where I live, as there was a huge Hispanic population and lots of great cheap Mexican takeout places. Then all of a sudden, tacos became trendy, and now places with $5 plus tacos exist, and everything went up in price pretty quickly. Story 10. Secondhand shopping. There's nothing worse than going into a completely harvested op shop and not being able to find anything in your size or of good quality because the hipsters came and raided the places and sold everything at 150% markup on their fucking Depop account. Story 11. Food that was cooked out of necessity. Chinese dumplings or pot stickers, for example, was a way to stretch out meal rations over an extended amount of time. A pound of meat can quickly be consumed by a family of 5, but if you wrap small portions of that meat with carrots, cabbage, and virtually any vegetable in dough and either boil or fry it, you can satiate the entire household for a longer period of time. When rich people started making it, basically with the same ingredients, the tone of the dish changed. Before, it was consumed because hard decisions had to make it through a rough period. Now, at places like Fats, a set of 5 dumplings will set you back about $15 and served as an appetizer to $100 or more meal, giving the illusion that you are eating some ballin' ass dumplings when, in reality, it's just dumplings. Why is Mexican food wrapped in tortillas and stuffed with beans, rice, and vegetables? Because those carnitas are expensive, so we're packing it in cheap stuff to make it stretch. Why is Indian food served with naan, roti, or over rice? Because grains are cheaper than meats. Italian pasta, French bread, pierogi, cornbread, mashed potatoes, fries, or chips. All just a way to combine the cheapest starch that can be obtained in the area with whatever protein is available. Story 12. The outdoors. So many places used to be difficult to get to, required some level of toughness and grit just to see. More and more people argue that they are entitled to see these places without that. And they are flooding in, paving roads, cramping parking lots full, and trampling some of the most pristine, delicate, untouched areas of the world. I'm not trying to gatekeep those places, but nature sure was. I think this one is less about rich people, more about social media culture. There's been a definite increase in outdoor gear prices, sure, which is frustrating, but the flood of people who have no respect for the outdoors and even less knowledge about preparedness and risk is due to outdoorsy influencer types. Everyone wants a pretty picture of a waterfall or a bear to show off on their Instagram. I have a world famous national park almost in my backyard, and going there isn't fun anymore because of the hordes of people who leave trash everywhere, park in a once pristine meadow, or hike in flip flops and don't know basic trail etiquette. Story 13. Montessori schools. They were designed to improve education of children who otherwise couldn't afford to go one, and now they are these exclusive private schools that only the middle class and above can afford. The toys and resources that were designed with the program as things that were affordable and of enough quality and usability to be worth it for poorer families are now sold at prices that only those who are well off would consider purchasing them. Story 14. I'm sure someone already mentioned this, but camping. It used to cost close to nothing to reserve a campsite. Some are still cheap, but now they've gone all bougie and some sites charge you ridiculous fees to pinch a tent in the woods. Same with music festivals in the forest. People would go to get away from bullshit societal hierarchies and enjoy music and self-expression. Then they got all mainstream and it lost its original meaning. Think Burning Man. I remember camping with my dad in British Columbia in the 90s. We'd stick with the provincial parks where you basically got trees, a picnic table, a fire ring, a communal water spigot, and an outhouse. You'd show up, picked an empty spot, and the caretaker would come around in the evening and collect $9 per night. Several years ago, we'd managed to bump into the same people, like the Dutch couple that would make a month-long trip across Canada every July. One of our favorite parks had only 9 small sites backing to Arrow Lake, suitable for tenting or a camper. If it was full, they had a big grass field for overflow, and you'd hope for a spot to open the following day. During a rainstorm one evening, a couple other kids taught me how to play Magic the Gathering. Nowadays, there's a reservation system for provincial parks. Many parks are fully booked the day that reservations open in March. They charge $6 a night for the reservation on top of the $30 a night camping fee. Those 9 original sites at our favorite park were cleared to make way for showers and flush toilets, and they built 75 new sites that are large gravel pads suitable for big RVs, not so much for tenting. Story 15. Vegan food. When it became a trend, the label vegan made it 50% more expensive. There was a huge scandal in the late 2000s when it was revealed that most pizza shops didn't use real cheese because plant-based was cheaper. Today, vegan cheese is 200% more compared to normal cheese. Story 16. Podcasts. The number of amazing podcasts that have been ripped off by celebrities who are so out of touch with the average person's daily experiences is disgusting. They are so starved for attention they have to take over any discussion that's happening. I don't remember which one, but an established comedian said he makes more money for 1-hour podcasts than a month of headlining Friday and Saturday night shows. So he and his comedian friends just take turns on each other's podcasts, just bullshitting with each other, and apparently people eat it up. Story 17. Comic-Cons used to be pretty affordable, and you could chat with celebrities for a while. Now they're a huge extravaganza with multiple levels of admission and VIP access and VIP seating. Pictures and autographs with bigger celebrities can cost a shitload. And you wait in multiple lines and are rushed through it. When I went, pre-COVID, I normally just see or buy art. Those folks are usually not super busy and will often sign stuff for free, unless they are big dudes like Frank Miller. I went to New York Comic Con a while back and it was beyond chaotic. Hours of lines just to shake an actor's hand and have them sign something. I got a picture with Stan Lee and I got to have a 30-second convo with him, but it sent me back $100 and I had to wait in line for 2 hours. Anime cons aren't quite as insane yet. Last one I went to before COVID, the voice actors were all just walking around, no problem. All the panelists were super easy to find outside of their panels and such. Though given how mainstream anime's gotten through TikTok and such, I'm sure they'll be the same soon enough. We sincerely appreciate you taking the time to watch our YouTube video. If you find our content helpful and enjoyable, please click the subscribe button to stay updated on any new videos we share in the future. Thank you once again, and we hope to see you in our next upcoming videos.